Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. For those of you that are watching the live and you're going, that's not the right background. That shit don't look right. Well, you are absolutely 100% correct. It is not right. I'm road tripping it today. I'm going to play with the screen a little bit, but taking one of my sons down to University of Southern Florida. So we're stopping in North Carolina at my stepmother's house and hanging out here with her. And we were just reminiscing over some pictures and stuff that I haven't seen in about forever. So we're going to get ready to get into it. Before we get too far, as always, we're going to introduce our guest. We've got the leader of the paranormal pest control, the Bigfoot Hunter, the Sasquatch, I don't know, what's a good one? Sasquatch Squadron, the Yeti Yammerer. I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything with all these. We got
that was a good.
You like
that was
that?
a good one. Yeah, it was a good one. I was like seeing how far you could take it.
I was trying to think of any other name for it. The Bigfoot Bandit. Maybe we'll go with that one. Mr. Mike Casey. What's up, Mike? Welcome.
How you
I don't
doing,
have I don't have my sound effects, so you get me clapping. I don't have my sound effects because we're on the road totoday. But
okay.
Yeah, brother, glad to have you out here with us. Let's go ahead and get our homework done. Get some the show. Nate's already starting. He's like, the show will mess up tonight. It absolutely will. As soon as we start talking ghosts and paranormal, we always have something going on. But we're going to get things going here. Let's get some house cleaning done. Don't have the big board behind me, but as always, folks, sticker in the cause. If you got something you're supporting, maybe you go ghost hunting. Maybe you search for up in upstate New York, we have Lake Champlain and they have Chessie. Or if you're in Baltimore and, you have, I don't know, a junkie in your neighborhood you chase after. I don't know. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make sure you follow us and send me a message on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. They're all the Above the Bar podcast. Send me a message. Let me know what you got going on. I'll send you the address. You send me a sticker. I put it on the big board and we talk about your stuff for free. Again, sticker and a cause. So make sure you're reaching out for those things. Also, maybe your media is a little prehistoric and nobody believes that it's real. That's why you need Media by Dibs. If you reach out to Dibs, D-I-B-S, you can find him on Facebook at Media by Dibs. You can find him on Instagram, Media by Dibs. And if you're on LinkedIn, it's Andrew Dibble. Let him know what you're looking for. And if you tell him that you want to belly up to the bar, he's going to give you a 10% discount on your first order. And he's going to give you a free consultation on what you need. All right. So all that's done, Mike. It's time to get into it.
Cool.
So you run paranormal pest control.
I don't know where you came up with that. I've never heard that before.
What? I thought I saw your name pop. Well, now you do. Son of a bitch! I just gave you something new.
It could be cool to work with.
I looked something up. I thought with your name, and it said Mike Casey, paranormal pest control. Then there's another Mike
That's
Casey
so
out
new.
there.
Yeah.
There's another Mike Casey
stealing my gigs.
Bro, I swear to you, I looked something up and it said
by day. That's my day job. I do pest control. And
are you serious?
Yeah. Like I kill bugs and I keep them out of people's homes all day. Like.
Oh, wait a sec. Well, maybe that was it. Like, what's the name of the pest? Can you say the name of the pest control you work for?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they love it. ProTerra Pest Control.
You know what? So it's ProTerra. I'm half illiterate, and I bet you I turn ProTerra. I turn ProTerra into paranormal.
It could
That's
go.
Amazing.
Hey, I'll bring it up to my boss, man. It's back in Reno, Nevada. We actually had some people that when I was ghost hunting, they would ask and call the office and ask for. It's like, don't you guys have a ghost hunter also? Like, can you send him over? And I'd go over and I'd talk to the customer, and then somebody else would do their pest control. It was funny.
Well, what was that show? Like, it was really like the first Discovery Channel show that really started pushing the paranormal and kind of got everybody out there talking about it. It wasn't ghost hunters. It was something like that. Weren't they pest control or something? It was two guys and they had a
Oh,
truck, and or they were plumbers or something like that.
I think
You know what I'm talking about?
it is Ghost Hunters. I think you're thinking of Ghost Adventures. There's those two that people confuse, and I think it's Ghost Hunters came first. They taps or caps or
Yeah,
whatever
taps, taps,
that.
taps. Yep.
Yeah, that's Ghost Hunters, I believe. Again, it's been so long since I've actually focused on that stuff. But
But now, and I think they were, but they were like pest control or plumbers or something like that by day, and did the other stuff by night.
yeah, yeah, and they're
So,
still going. I mean, they're still they have shows still to this
oh
day.
really?
Like, yeah, they're back at it. They took a brief break. I remember that, and now the team is back at it, and it's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and they,
yeah. Ghost Hunters was first. Yeah.
uh, and my and Nate's on here. Nate is who introduced Mike and I. He says, "How you doing?" And Ghost Hunters was first, and you also got whiskey with
With
cryptids.
cryptids. Yep.
Uh, is that a buddy of yours?
Super cool. Yeah, we're in the Bigfoot Society. They have the Patreon, they have Discord, and I can always count on them. They're like a seriously cool family.
That's awesome.
It is
So
really fun.
So now that I've given you a brand new company and a brand new name,
Yeah.
um, with paranormal pest control, because I love it now and it sounds perfect. Um, how did you get into any of this? Whether it be because we were talking before the show that you've got some ghost videos out there, you did some
hmm
stuff like that. You got
hmm
another buddy, John Casey, uh,
That's my brother. That's my
or
brother.
Josh is your brother.
Josh, what's
Okay.
up, brother? My brother.
So he's in the hot seat. We're going to turn it up on him, there, Josh. So how far back does all this go for you?
I would say 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. It's a gray area because so I have a very big history of partying, and I was actually drinking really hard and watching Ghost Adventures and thinking, why don't I do this? Like I could do this. And so I got on Google and typed in, at the time I was living in Reno, Nevada. And so I typed in Reno Paranormal and came up with this team and sent them an email. They were accepting applications, and I set up uh, an interview, got the spot. They had a location that night, and I went. I had nothing else to do, and so I just kind of went from there. But again, with that party phase, I could say I was pretty messed up a lot of those times. Um, I it's hard to admit that because I had so much fun and I met so many cool people, but it was just a very, very bad, dark time in my life. It's just it was a coping thing or something. I don't know. But I got my shit turned around in 2015. Went to a treatment center, got my act around, and went back to Reno, Nevada, and they disbanded the group, the paranormal group, but I got back into sort of doing my own thing, going out like a solo. I wasn't attached to that group. I was just Mike Casey, paranormal investigator. And after that, I mean, I got invited to go speak at Jackson, California, Vulture City, Arizona. That's up there
Oh, you did the
near.
Vulture City.
Yeah, with I missed Patty. I missed all of those guys that you've talked to.
Yes.
I went the very first year, and then I haven't been back sadly. I hope and dream to make it back there, but with a bunch of Bigfoot stuff to show for it. Like Mike
Right.
returned, and oh, now he's changed gears and stuff. I'd love to go back. I have all the fun in Arizona.
Well,
Tons of
well,
fun there.
that's such an interesting state. There's a lot of that out there. You
It's
know,
crazy.
now is most of the stuff you've done. So you're into this in 2012. You go through the rehab and you come back and you're still at it. Did you feel like, hey, maybe what I was experiencing before in 2012, now I'm going to do this in 2015, that maybe the things that you saw or experienced back then weren't real, were more alcohol induced or whatever you were involved in induced,
Yeah.
and you needed to reprove this to yourself? What made you go back to it?
The thrill of it, I think. I always like I enjoyed every minute of it, even though I was sort of going spinning. I kept telling everybody I did meth a lot. That was my thing. So it was go go go. Always blamed it on Monster, Red Bull energy drinks. But it'd be an all night investigation. So it's just like I don't want to sleep. I'm going and I'm staying an hour up in this bedroom, and so I wanted to have that kind of thrill because I remember the excitement. But then so it's money sort of changed. So
What do you mean?
instead of me buying money and spending money on drugs, alcohol, and the occasional night in a haunted location, when I got back out sober, clean, it wasn't short after me coming back to everything that I met my wife, that who is now almost been married 5 years now.
Congratulations.
Um, thank you. It has been an amazing time. Now they're 3 kids, but sorry. Now I was getting off side tangent right there. So I met my wife, and she was very awesome on allowing me to spend the money on going to these trips in Arizona.
Nice.
But but that, I mean, it was a couple $1,000 for the whole trip because I'd want to go. I wouldn't want to go just for the event. I'd want to go for an extra day and before, an extra day after, get to see
Okay.
the world, get to visit Tombstone, Arizona. If you haven't been, go.
I want to go to Tombstone because
so
I like westerns and I love all that stuff. So I
so
mean, I
much
want to go
fun.
for that purpose.
Oh, there's after hours stuff. There's ghost tours.
Oh, really?
It is so much fun. Tombstone, go go go.
See,
So
I
I'd
wouldn't have
always
thought
make it a
about that.
point. Yeah, I'd always make it a point to go there. The movie Tombstone, I named my second born Wyatt after Wyatt Earp. Like it's got a part of me. Um, so there's this big chunk, and then I learned that it's getting a little tight, getting tight, and then a friend of mine, it was the end of 2019. I met her through the paranormal community. I think I'd only met her once technically, but she
Okay.
approached me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I remember you like Bigfoot. Like, I'm thinking of starting a Bigfoot group. Let's start this together." And I've disbanded. I've come to terms with I work best as a solo guy, like in a team set. Like when I'm set and goal oriented on this particular type of thing, I don't know. I'm catching myself in a world because I'm great in a team, but in this, it's when I get out in the woods, I want to be able to do what I want to do and not have these parameters of like, all right, I got to do this, I got to do that. I thought this was going to be a fun Bigfooting trip. This time that it was like the first time starting the trip with the group. Let's hit it, like go to the mountains, go to Bluff Creek. And I was shocked at how much I had to carry the load of the whole camp trip of like setting up the tent, cooking, getting to the location. And so it was me banking on putting a lot of faith in somebody else's skills. And so I cut that off, started doing solo, Squatch Mike. That became just the thing. And I went back out with a couple other friends, and that just solidified the joy of me being out there alone.
So, right, and
um,
Tate's on here saying that he's hard at work editing the Bluff Creek
Tate,
episode. What
yeah.
is that about?
So Tate Hieronymus, he is a Bigfoot researcher down in Florida. So if your son is interested in this stuff, tell him to contact him. I can't wait to meet Tate. I was planning to meet him end of July, I think it was Tate. Um, but I was planning to meet him up at Bumping Lake, but dates got switched around and stuff, and I missed it. But he is coming out with a 3-part or 4-part series. Correct me with that, Tate. Called The Search for Sabe. And Sabe is just the term for Sasquatch up in this northern area, northwestern area. And that's a whole other. I don't want to. That's like one name out of 100 that I can
Well,
remember.
that was going to be. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like we were joking around at the beginning. I said Yeti and Bigfoot and Sasquatch and
Yeah.
what's the one? The abominable snowman. Every culture that, and he says it's a 4-part series. Every culture has some iteration of this.
Mm-hmm.
You can even go as far back, and I've heard this before, and I'd be curious what your feelings on this are, that it's biblical. You can find stuff referenced in the Bible when they talk about uh, David and Goliath, that the
Mm-hmm.
Goliaths were an entire race of people at the time. We found giant gravestones with giant people that did
Mm-hmm.
not fit with anything else. I'm really curious, what are your feelings when you start to get into that depth, that basically these could just be people that, have stayed out of society, and that piece to it?
Mm-hmm. Very, very, very possible, I think. So I've heard them being back to that biblical senses. I've heard them being brought up as the Nephilim, and I've been to Catholic school. I've had that. Um,
You got peanuts coming in?
yeah, I got my little boy. What's up, Wyatt? Um, he was supposed to be downstairs.
That's all right. Mine always
That's
invades
Wyatt.
also.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Wyatt. You got good hair there, Mr. Wyatt. Where'd you get all that hair from?
Yeah, oh, in boots. We can only cut this. There's the bangs. Everything else is supposed to be left and
Oh my
wild.
goodness.
I know. It's going to be 106 here on Saturday, and I keep telling him like, hey, we gotta.
Do something. Oh my
It will
goodness.
come back, but it's just
We,
these curls. They're just fantastic on a center.
oh my goodness. So,
Yeah.
like you were saying, so there are some biblical elements into it, and you mentioned the name of the race that they believe, the net. What is it?
Yeah, Nephilim is that's what I've heard the term as. But again, like I've been to Catholic school, but that was first grade, and I don't remember anything of it. And I'm not a very religious guy, so I don't know that sort of stuff. But I do know where you're coming from on the the burial grounds for the giants. I mean, I want to see those bones. They've been in the Smithsonian, I guess, or I mean, I've seen the posts, I've seen the pictures, but I want to see them. I think that'd be really cool. Coming from Reno, Nevada, there is a legend or a story of red-haired giants out by the
Yes.
Lovelock. So, I mean, there are legends of them, and so I don't think they're that far-fetched. And the red-haired giants are kind of Sasquatches. Like they're just as like a term as a red-haired giant. It's still, I mean, all the details, everything that they've described about them is a Sasquatch. And in my
I'll
sense, I
inter-
mean, I look at the details and stuff, but
I'll introduce you to the Murphys in Arizona, who are redheads, and all of them are 6'6" and bigger. Uh,
see,
so trust me, they're all redheads, and they're redheaded giants. Trust me.
yeah.
So and I guess I'm kind of curious, and you're kind of touching on it. Do you think that they're one and the same? Do you think that where was a separation there? What's your feelings on that element?
In my sense, and I try and read as much as possible. I have a library. I try and look up as much as possible. There's so much to look into. If anybody wants to really dive into uh, like going into the Homo erectus, Homo sapien, the lineage, the background. Again, I'm skipping on that term. The Forest Fleur, Emily, she is fantastic. She has an Instagram called the Forest Fleur, and she goes all the way back, and she is really, really into all the scientific skull size, the way that they walked, the Homo erectus, Homo australis. See, I mean, there's so many different names of the different lineage of Homo sapiens that it could be any one of those branches. And as you mentioned, that in every place on the world, there's different types of Sasquatches or different types of these beings. Whether they're bigger, smaller, they look different, they're different colors. Um, the yeah. I don't know what he's gonna do. You can sit
Mr.
up there,
Wyatt,
bud.
Mr. Wyatt, do you believe in Big? Mr. Wyatt, have you ever seen Bigfoot?
Have you
Wyatt,
seen
have you ever
Bigfoot?
seen Bigfoot?
Kong. Yeah.
Yeah. You
To
saw
him,
him?
Bigfoot is Kong. We watch
Oh yeah,
King
I would
Kong
agree
a
with you.
lot. We love
King
King
Kong
Kong.
does have big feet.
Yes.
Yep.
Actually,
I like
so
Kong.
this was given to us. You see the size of this foot compared to just Wyatt.
Yeah,
So
like it would step on Wyatt. It'd be his
yeah.
size.
So this was casted in 1982 up in Grays Harbor County, Washington, on Satsop um, Satsop River by a logging crew. Or a sheriff went up there to report to get the reporting of the logging crew and casted these prints. I think there were 5 total of a trackway. And I mean, so the dermal ridges, dermal prints, that's something that people look for in Sasquatch prints, which sort of people kind of look for in the evidence side when they come across anything out in the woods. And so when I get these, I only have 2 prints right now, but the collection's growing. Wyatt wants to show the other one.
That looks like your foot, isn't it, Wyatt? Is that your foot?
Wyatt, is this your foot? Yeah.
Yep, he said it was his. I thought so. I thought so.
Yeah. Oh, he wants to show you.
And real quick, Tate says that historically speaking, the belief is that the Nephilim were violent offspring of the demons that mated with women of the earth. If Sasquatch were descendants, they'd be more violent in nature. Okay, I mean, I didn't know that piece was where the belief of the Nephilim came from, but it's interesting to know because we have historical stuff. And going back to Catholic school, I went to Catholic school for 6 years.
Yeah.
They never told us of the Nephilim, and
Yeah, I don't
giants are
remember
actually
about
mentioned. They never told us that that's where supposedly he came from, Goliath, and actually they're actually come up in the Bible like a second time. There's like a big fight where there's like 5 or 6 of them in another whole situation. But so these molds, and tell everybody what you mean when you talk about the ridges in the mold. What is that referring to?
So the dermal ridges are like the thumbprint, the fingerprint in your foot. Every foot has the ridges and the lines and stuff. And so if you went out to some mud and you took a step in it, depending on how wet it is, you'll be able to identify. My kid's just going for everything. You could see the ridges of your foot. And so
Okay.
coming from these Sasquatch prints, you could actually see in lines. You can't see it on the Grays Harbor. The YouTube video that I did in June was an actual anniversary. It was a 40-year anniversary for Paul Freeman. He found footprints in the Blue Mountains here, and they had dermal ridges on the sides and in the toes. And that's what caught the don't press that. That's what caught the attention of Grover Krantz, who is a anthropologist professor at the University of Washington. I want to say it was. So that's actually one of the historical, in my eyes, pieces of evidence that actually caught the attention of academia. People that are like willing to risk their neck or their reputation to actually say, "Oh, okay, so this is something to look at."
There's something more to this.
Which is a little difficult, is people don't want to really come up and look into it. I mean, we have Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum over in Idaho University, and he has one of the biggest footprint cast collections known. I believe he actually has some of Grover Krantz's collection in Grover Pass. But it's just, I mean, there's hundreds of different collections of these footprints and handprints and the Skookum Cast and
The
It's
what?
crazy.
What is the Skookum Cast? What is the Skookum Cast?
So the Skookum cast is it's almost like a half body imprint of a large being that was laying in the mud. I can't remember everybody that was there, but I know Derek Randalls from the Olympic Project. He was there, and it was somewhere up here in the Olympic Peninsula. Ooh, don't quote me on that one. Somewhere up here in Pacific Northwest. They baited this muddy pit sort of area with like apples and fruit and stuff, and waited overnight. And then something came by and like leaned over the mud. Hold on, buddy. Leaned over the mud to get to the bait, and it actually left like an arm and the body and the butt and part of the leg. And so
Really?
it was like 100 pounds of plaster casting that it took them, like 150 pounds to actually get this mold.
Just to
And
fill
I
that
don't
in,
know
just to get the
where.
mold.
Yeah, because it's just so large, and they don't think it's an elk because elk stand up. The way elk stand up is they go feet to the middle to lift their body, and so that imprint indentation is not there. Like, so it's just
That's
wild. It's just crazy to think about. I don't know where it is, um, but I want to see that.
so with all these different things that you're talking about, these different casts, all these prints all over the globe, different sightings. I mean, we were talking beforehand. I live outside of Albany, New York, and just up the road from us is Whitehall, and there's the Whitehall
Mhm.
sighting, which I used to work for the railroad, and that's actually where the sighting took place at. There is just above the railroad tracks,
Mhm.
and and it was a ridge there. What do you think it is though that so many people have seen this, but yet there's never been what's the right see, and I hate to say, oh, there's never been a definitive. Well, we've got evidence. We have these things. We have people who've seen things. Every culture on the planet that I know of has some form of this conversation. And it's similar to, like, you talk about the pyramids. How is it that every culture could build a pyramid or something like this? How do you think it is though that if you know saying that Sasquatch is real, does exist, this is a creature, how is it that we haven't seen them? And I've heard oh, well, we don't know everything at the bottom of the ocean. Well, yeah, that's a pretty far ways down.
Mhm.
But how do you think it is that we haven't captured or found a carcass or something along those lines?
It's a difficult one to explain or try and explain because everybody wants that body. Everybody wants to find some evidence of them. A hand. There was a skull that was supposedly found recently. It was a hoax. But it's like everybody wants to find that stuff. Whenever I think of why can't we find them, I go back. It's something that I thought of since starting this was imagine. So the easiest thing to think about is us humans. We're born, and then we are raised and brought into this world and shown how to adapt and survive what we know. Imagine a baby Sasquatch being born in the woods, away from everything. Within time that baby's crawling, I'm sure he'll know someone's coming, duck behind a tree, or something's up ahead, go under this log, hide in this cave. The larger ones, that's 10, 15 years of experience now of that. There's stories and theories of why we see them is a test of them maturing from that teenage to adult phase. So that could be that transition, and then it's I don't know, but there's just so many different theories and ideas and stuff. But in my world, in my head, it's just imagine being raised that way, and it would not take long to learn the ways of being hidden and knowing how to stay hidden. And I mean, you don't find bears. There's that other most common thing is where you can't find Bigfoots is you don't find bears, you don't find cougars, you don't find wolves. Things get ripped apart torn, or if things know they're going to die, they find a place and they just go there to die. And so it's
Well, I
just,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, they seem like if they're they're bipedal, so and they seem to have some form of. Anytime you ever see anything, it's always that solo one. And
Mhm.
that's actually kind of a question. Maybe that's actually. Is there any theories on why when we do see one, like you said, it might be a test for a 10 or a 15 or 16-year-old,
Mhm.
kind of like a social test, but why haven't we ever seen like a family, like nobody, you've never heard a story of like, hey, we found a cast, but we found a cast and it was an adult and a child, or it was, hey, we found a cast and it was, or somebody took a picture and it was, you know, uh, what looked like a mother with a child on its back, moving through the woods, more primate like. What's the theory on that? Do you know?
Gotta start listening to some more Bigfoot podcasts because there's stories out there of, and I've
Oh,
seen the
really?
cast. I've seen the casts of small footprints and their tracked ways right next to 12, 14-inch footprints.
Oh, see, I've
Um,
never even
yeah,
heard
no,
that
there's
before. So,
stories out there.
wow. So now you're being in the Northwest, up in that area. Why why do you think that area is so active with Bigfoot sightings and people seeing, you know, Sasquatches? And what's the right term? Let me ask that question first. What's the right term? Like, should I say Bigfoot? Should I say Sasquatch? Should I say Yeti? What is this
I I
in
don't know.
the society that you're a part of with the Discord, or if they went on to at Sasquatch Mike? I know that's your Twitter and your Instagram. If you guys want to follow Mike, please at Sasquatch Mike, but
Squatch Mike.
or Squatch Mike. See, I call you Sasquatch. It's Squatch Mike, and I know that because I even have it here on the banner. But what's the right terminology?
Uh, I just say Sasquatch, Bigfoots. No, I don't
Bigfoot.
think
So,
there isn't a term. There's no expert either. I think we're all flying by the seat of our pants. We get these books and we live by them sort of. We think it's like, all right, well, it's print. It's got to be it, right? But then you open the next book and it talks about. I mean, uh, so there's a story of a Sasquatch walking up on the porch to somebody's house. The lady lifts the shotgun, bright light, Sasquatch is gone. So there's the weird aspect of the paranormal side of it. Like there's a lot in this shelf that's like it is a flesh and blood wild animal, really good at hiding, footprints, getting into the details. And then there's some up there that is just it's just the weirdest stuff. But coming from the background of paranormal stuff, I don't discredit anything. I accept the stories and put it into the library of just like that's wild.
I'm with
So,
you.
and then the footprints. So there's been stories of footprints in the snow that are like 15-inch big footprints, about 5, 6 feet apart, and then they disappear in the middle of the snow.
Well, that was going to be my next thing.
So
I hunt
there's
myself. I enjoy to hunt.
mhm.
I know how to track. I know how to track a deer. I know what I'm looking for. You know, what is it that's so different that we normally only see like five or six prints or something? And Tate says that actually the PG film is theorized that when they found Patty's tracks, there was different sizes, summarizing that Patty had younglings with him. So there was something there.
Oh yeah, so there was actually not just at the Patterson Gimlin film, the famous filming. Bob Gimlin and Roger Patterson said that there was multiple Sasquatch up on the hill, not just the Sasquatch that was walking there, but
Oh,
there was like
really?
two up on the hill that were up in the trees that were watching them as they were or trying to get their horses under control, and then Roger Patterson was filming. So
Oh,
again, so Tate Hieronymus, again, he is a host to the Bluff Creek podcast.
okay.
So he knows so much stuff about the Patterson-Gimlin film, Bluff Creek area. I sadly didn't meet and know him when I went up there. I wish I did. When I went up there, it was like the first year. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go search the woods. Didn't know a thing. I just brought this giant tent in my truck and was like, I'm going. All
Through
these
caution to
people
the wind.
know. Yeah, it was during COVID, so I knew nothing was going to be open. So I was just like, let's just, gas station there and head up the hill. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But I wish I had done more research when I did those trips, so I'd link up with Tate or get to go to the Bigfoot bookstore. There's just a bunch of stuff that I sadly got to miss.
Well, everybody make sure you also check out Tate Hieronymus, Bluff Creek podcast, and Whiskey says that there's a video of a small one here in New York jumping off the shoulder of its mother into a tree. Look, gents, the Above the Bar podcast, Facebook page, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. Send me those videos, or you can post them on my page. I'm always interested in seeing stuff like that. I'm the guy that goes, look, I'm with it. Every year we find new species somewhere on the planet. Every year there's somebody that says there's something new out there, some critter and creature that's out there. I don't see why this is any different in my mind. I'm not out there. I don't go hunting for them myself, but definitely is in there. And Tate says Mike is the man for doing it. Mike is a up and coming researcher. I think so. I mean, like, so let's.
I got some big plans. I'm excited.
Well, I want to hear about those plans, but I have a question. So we talk a lot about, these are the evidence, the things that we found. I know there's some stuff about hairs that have been found that weren't able to be linked to any known animal, things that didn't match. These other films that I didn't know existed. If they find Bigfoot, it will explain. Sean, look, nobody wants to hear your shit, Nate. Do you know? Like, Nate, you might want to find Bigfoot so then you can have somebody help you pick during the fantasy draft and stop taking kickers in the first round. So, but what's the other side? So what are some of the things that people should look for to say, you know what, this is definitely like to quickly debunk it? I guess that's what I'm looking for. What is the quick debunk?
Get out there, go see for yourself.
But I mean, like, is there any things that are like real fast ways to say, like, if somebody goes, "Hey, this is Sasquatch," well, obviously that's a paper mache doll. Like, anything that are always like, these are the keys to say this isn't real. This isn't what we're looking for.
Still learning here on that front. Like with that skull that I mentioned, had me fooled for the first day. I saw it when it was first posted. When it was like 12 minutes, and I blasted it all throughout, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, look at this!" And it's hard. It's difficult, definitely. It did. It took my attention away. It's okay. I'm into football, but I don't do the draft and all that stuff, so I don't know anything where that's coming from.
Neither does Nate. He doesn't know anything. But back to what we're talking about. So now you kind of were mentioning the paranormal piece to it. Do you think that this falls into that category? Because if we're saying it's a species, it's an animal, it's something that exists in the world, then I wouldn't put it under paranormal. But there's all these, like the Yeti. Like, people, I use the term Yeti, but really, in Native American culture, Yeti is not a Sasquatch. It's more of a demon that takes over people, if I remember correctly.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, that I'll have to look it up, and I'll send it to you. But I believe, and I'll have to double check myself, it's more of almost like takes over a person's soul, kind of a creature, less of like Sasquatch, which is just, that's a big hairy animal, bipedal, lives out in the woods and doesn't want to be bothered with your BS, and probably is never getting a COVID shot.
Yeah, I've heard that the Yeti is It's what and I don't want
No,
to
Wendigo.
butcher it.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Wendigo. I apologize. I'm a
Okay,
liar. It's
Wendigo.
Wendigo.
Okay, now we're
Wendigo.
yep,
Wendigo. I'm a liar. It's
100% then.
Wendigo.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking. I was mixing things up.
I'm
It's
nervous
Wendigo,
to
man.
say it because I listen to a podcast where they don't say it, and every time they do say it, they make a big hoopla about it because it's bad to say the name. But Skinwalker Ranch, it's all the same.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing. What?
Yeah, I
Let's
don't
make a left
know.
turn.
There's
Let's make a
yeah.
left turn. What do you think of
Okay.
the Skinwalker thing? What do you think of the Skinwalker thing?
I've reached out to Brandon and asked to actually camp out at that shack that's on the borders. I haven't heard. I'd love to. It's one of those things. It's on the shows. I'm interested. It's piqued my interest, but I want to go there and see for myself.
I'm interested. And
It's just
Tate
like with
says,
Expedition Bigfoot and all those shows. It looks great, and I'm looking on the map. It's like, oh, they're up here, they're over here. All right, so I'll add that to my list of spots to go check out.
yeah, that's what
But
Tate's saying. 2 words and a good example of what what looking for Bigfoot is not like. Expedition
oh,
Bigfoot, unrealistic. And then
oh,
Tyler Morrison says, "Sup, Mike? Let's go." Another
yeah,
buddy of yours. That's great. Look,
coworker.
everybody, if you're enjoying this, please make sure you're sharing. Give Mike a follow on his Twitter. Give him a follow on his Instagram, Squash Mike, or Squatch Mike, not Squash Mike. We don't
Yeah,
want nobody to squash you, squash you, Squatch Mike. So where you brought up Skinwalker.
hmm.
What do you think of that one? Now that's one that like there's so many videos out there now that where I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, like this looks this looks more like CGI than it does anything to me. What
Hmm.
are your thoughts on that one?
The longer it goes, it's so with like Ghost Adventures, the longer things go without end dates or like I don't know, an outcome. It's all just a show, and then it does wind up just being CGI. Like the first
Right.
3 or 4, 5 seasons of Ghost Adventures, that's when I was glued and hooked. After that, you just could tell that stuff isn't happening in one night. Like this isn't real. Things are wrong. Your guys are lying. It's entertainment. It's a bummer when you realize that. So like I watch the shows for location, for information, because they interview some solid people. I mean the Bryce Johnson on Expedition Bigfoot, he has a podcast, the Bigfoot Collectors Club. I listen to that. That's a great show. Russell Accord, I kind of am aiming my way of research like him. So people can say, hey, I love you, bud, but I mean, Expedition Bigfoot, yeah, it's entertainment, but they're out there doing the stuff, and it's fun to watch them. I hope to meet
Well,
them. It's
well,
cool.
it's the other
I'm
side
not
to it
gonna bag it.
is they're at least giving you locations. They're you
Hmm.
can go and now do your own. So I get that.
Yeah.
I'll have to get you linked up with a friend of ours, Patrick, that's been on the show, Patrick Cutler. He lives out in Montana, and Patrick has had experiences with aliens and different stuff like that. And they're out in the middle of the land that God forgot, Montana. Like
Hmm.
there is nothing out there, Montana,
Yeah.
and they've had like straight up experiences. But there's so much of this. Is there anything for you where you draw the line to say, okay, this no, we're not buying into this one. Now that you know there's lizard people that run the White House. Is there any
Yeah.
of those for you that you're like, nope, I don't go into that one.
It's hard. No. I mean, lizard people in the White House is hard to get behind, but I haven't looked into lizard people. I haven't listened to the shows or watched the book or listened to the books, read the books. There's books. There's
Oh yeah.
podcasts on lizard people, and there's a lot more people out there that know a lot more stuff, and I'm willing to listen. I don't know. I've been to some weird stuff. I've seen some weird stuff, so I don't discredit the weird stuff.
So there's nothing where you would be like, yeah, I just can't. I can't get in that one.
No.
There's got to be
No,
one.
all these cryptid shows that I listen to, it's there's Cryptid Corners, Paranorthwest. That's another podcast I listen to, and they have a cryptid corner, and they come out. They found a book, and they're going through the cryptids of it, and I mean, it's the weirdest things you've ever thought of, and then they'll actually throw the picture of it up on Instagram, and the pictures I have going through my head are the weirdest and oddest things. Momo, so
What
Momo
is
from Missouri.
What is
So
Momo?
Missouri,
I was gonna
you
have to
know,
ask you that one.
the Beast of Boggy Creek. You know the legend of the Beast of Boggy Creek. They made the movie.
Nope, nope, never heard of it.
No, what? Oh, okay, well, this is an old one, so I don't even want to quote the year because it's in the 70s or 80s. Beast of Boggy Creek, but it's actually like it was filmed as a documentary, but then it just got.
Oh, did we freeze up? We
Momo
lost
is.
Mike. We lost you
Uh-oh.
for a minute there, Mike. Go ahead, do it
Okay.
again.
Hopefully you got me back.
Got
Yeah.
you back.
So Momo is Missouri's Beast of Boggy Creek. And so it's just like as you said, like Florida has their skunk ape, Missouri has Momo, Whitehall has the Beast of Whitehall. We have Sasquatch.
Well, I think every state has it. And we lost you there for a minute again, Mike. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if it's your end or my end. I think every
glitching.
state, yeah, just a little. Well, this is Nate will tell you. Anytime we start getting into these things, I could have 10 perfect shows. The minute I start talking paranormal anything, uh, we're gonna start glitching and locking up and freezing up. It's guaranteed to happen. So that's
Uh-oh.
Missouri's is. Yep, I'm still here. I'm not sure if it's on your end or
Okay,
my end
I
where
got you, I think.
we're freezing. I got you. I'm not sure
Yeah.
whose end it's freezing up here on, but and yes, Tate, look into it. That's one of the theories is that lizard people are who run the White House, and yes, that makes absolutely perfect sense in my book. Also, that's a definite thing. Uh, Buckle up for Momo. Uh, Represent Missouri is my home state. Yeah, it's actually one of the few states I haven't actually been
Small
in.
Town Monsters did a great episode of Momo.
Yeah, I mean, and then we got Bluff Creek podcast. Yep, it's the government. Yep, they're catching a hold of this one, and we're talking about it. You got to start shutting it down, and we've been talking about it too long. We're getting into things that they don't want people to know about, and I think that's that old theory of if we all knew everything that was really out there, how would it affect us, or how could people truly appreciate what's the right way to I don't know the right way to put it, but like if you knew that like the government said to you, oh, we know where all the Sasquatch are, we've tagged about 30 of them with ear tags, we've got all this worked out, you would be like, are you serious? Like that would blow your mind.
That'd be a little wild. It wouldn't blow my mind.
You don't think that would blow my mind? I'd be like, what, you guys have known about this for all this time? It's
Yeah.
like the
No,
aliens, the same thing.
yeah, no, there again, if you listen to some podcasts, you'll hear some wild stories. So there's one where these military guys are in a helicopter and they're flown in and they have to get a Sasquatch. And so they actually shoot the mother in the throat. The baby's there. They go down, get it. Then the other big ones bluff rush in. I mean, there's some wild stuff out there. So I don't put it past the government knowing it at all. That's why it wouldn't shock me as one of those things where it's like, here's this classified file along with the aliens.
Yeah, that's well. That's a whole nother thing. Like, I really want to talk to somebody who's been involved in that one because we know now for a fact we've got Air Force pilots, Navy pilots, stuff that's
Mhm.
being declassified that says, "Oh no, we've run into these guys. We've run into unidentified objects. We've got it. It's proof." And it
Mhm.
comes on the news, and it's the most skimmed over thing because everybody wants to hear about what celebrity isn't. We all wanted to hear about Johnny Depp and
Yeah.
Amber Heard, but for
Stepped on
that
a
that
bee.
was yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
stepped on a bee, yeah, like I don't understand how that's
Yeah,
more of a value
I
to people
agree.
than something like, hey, no, we're seeing aliens. It's legit. It's legit. Hey,
Yeah.
we've got real Bigfoot evidence. We know this stuff's happening. This is legit, and people aren't talking about it. It's like, yeah, we'll get to it. Have
Yeah.
you have you?
Did you know that
It,
today actually scientists are trying to bring back the Tasmanian tiger
I
through
thought they were still
genetics?
some left in Tasmania.
No. Well, they might
Like,
be. There's the stories of them being seen out of the skimmering of your eye while walking in the forest down there, but there's never been one like recorded, captured in the X amount of years that they've been gone. But
oh, really?
again, like nobody's thinking about that. I think that's awesome. They're bringing back
Yeah.
something that we took out, like humans took out. So I think that's cool.
Well, there's so many of those
But I
things.
agree. There's the news is focused on some BS these days, and it's I don't even watch it now.
Well, it's funny you talk about bringing things back. There was an article, probably, I'm going to say it's almost been 3 years ago now, where they were trying to bring back woolly mammoths
Hmm.
to because we've lost so much. It had to do with the whole ice age thing, and that they used to walk all these lands and they compressed the ground down. And now, over all this time, like, it was this whole thing, and it was
Yeah.
some Russian scientists trying to bring back woolly mammoths through DNA found. And me personally, I've watched enough of Jurassic Parks. Please, please, let's not bring anything back. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. Like, we don't
Those
we don't
ones,
need that.
those got taken out by like some big global thing. Like Tassie tigers, those got taken out from like deforestation or hunting. Like
Right.
we took those guys out. The dinosaur, yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm Ian
Yeah.
Malcolm. Jurassic Park is like one of my favorite films. I'm
Let
with
that
you.
let that shit go. Let that
But
shit go.
with the woolly mammoth thing, did you know just like 2 or 3 months ago they found an even better preserved baby mammoth carcass?
No,
Yeah,
see, we're
yeah,
constantly finding these things. So where's the next
yeah.
place that you're headed off to, searching for Sasquatch? And don't get caught by a Wendigo. Now that I remember, it's Wendigo is the one that goes after your
Yeah.
that
Well,
creeps
now
into
you're
people.
sending them after me. Now it's out there.
Oh, oh, son of a bitch! But what's the
uh,
next hunt for you?
Saturday, I go up to the Blues. I'm heading out there. It's like the local. It's the closest place. I moved in Washington, and so it's the closest place to this area. It's about an hour, hour and a half drive to the spot, and that's Florida. So Florida and Alaska are my big trips for next year. That's why I'm trying to pull. But again, saving up money.
Now, what is it in
Um,
Florida? Is it like the Everglades?
Everglades and Tate will say the Aureola, something like
Areolas?
that.
I don't think it's
Areolas?
the
Is
areola.
that
I don't think it's
Aureolas?
areola. If it's
Is that it?
areolas, that's a whole nother thing.
I don't even know what that is. So
You don't know what
it's
that is?
the
Okay.
no,
How many kids you
I'm
got?
lost.
How many
I
kids you
got
got?
three.
Yeah,
Three.
areolas. Go ask your ask your wife. Ask your wife what the
My wife's
areolas
the
are.
nurse. She knows the stuff. I've been to a doctor
Yep.
in years.
She'll
I'm
tell you.
not that type
Just,
of guy. I'm like,
just go to your
yeah,
wife and be like, "Hey, can I go to the Florida areolas?" And see what she says.
areolas.
Yeah, it might be a whole nother topic though. It might be a whole nother
Cool.
topic. Um, so your next
But
trip is this
anyways,
Saturday to the blue. What is it
this
called? The blue what?
Saturday, the Blue Mountains. It's northeastern Washington, southeastern or no, northeastern Oregon, southeastern Washington. That little area.
Ocala.
Um, a guy named Paul Freeman. He got a lot of Bigfoot casts and a video of a Sasquatch back in 1992, and so I'm going up to kind of celebrate. So I did his 40-year anniversary for the dermal footprints I told you about earlier. The ones with the yeah. So I celebrated that in June for the 40 year, and then on Saturday is the 30-year anniversary to the film. I don't know if you've seen the film, but it's right up there in
What?
my book with the Patty film.
Which one?
I
Which one?
I,
So the
I
two
liked it.
films that I always think about is There's one where the guy kind of zooms the camera in, and it's way off in like a wetlands. I feel like it was way down below him, and he films the Sasquatch going. I believe it's going right to. Is it going right to left? I don't remember, but it's going across, and it's kind of a distant one. And then there's the real famous one which is the one I think you're talking about, where they kind of walk in front, and it turns and looks at the camera and keeps on going.
Yeah, the famous turning, walk and turn. So there's another one. I don't know the one that you're saying, the one in the Everglades. It might be the one we're talking about because
I don't know if it's the Everglades. I just know
film,
it's like way off in the distance. Like it's way off in the distance.
This film I'm talking about, it's maybe about 50 to 75 yards away. It's not that far.
Okay.
Maybe
it's just in my head.
It's like that way. He's filming footprints, and all of a sudden he hears stuff, and then he looks up, and then he sees it walking out from the trees, and then it kind of stops and turns, and there's theories of a baby that climbs up onto it. There's actually a book coming out, the Freeman Files, I think that's the name. I'm so excited for it because it's like a coffee table book, bunch of pictures. This guy I'm kind of following the reins of because he found a lot of the evidence in the mountains here, and so I've made friends with his son, his kid Michael, so I'm kind of getting a lot of inside stories and locations, and it's just been a lot of fun to communicate with Paul Freeman's son.
So Tate says I'm talking about the Dave Shealy film, the Dave Shealy videos.
So Tate knows everything. He's just yeah.
He's into it. He's got it. Well,
I'm so happy Tate's here. He's pulling up my reins like whatever I'm not having.
That's good. So somebody's got to. Well, I appreciate him because it makes me feel like I'm not crazy. Like I know I've seen this stuff. I know I watched.
Well,
this
I'm
stuff.
sure you have. There's a video. One of my most famous or favorite ones is like a Russian Bigfoot, and you can see this thing like galloping through the forest, like with these arms and like huge arms and this big body, massive. That's one of my favorites, but nobody ever really has seen that one. It's like the Russian Yeti or Russian Bigfoot.
That's wild, and it like gallops like on all fours, like a bear would, or like a big animal.
No, you can see this thing, like you can see it kind of go like this, and then it hops over a log with its arms up, like an ape, as it goes over like this, and then it goes back onto like. I mean, they've seen them running on all fours. Like spider squatch is a term people have used because like people have been sitting it. I know it's wild. Bat squatch is another one in Washington. A bat squatch.
Are these new Marvel and DC characters? I mean, are we talking about new Marvel?
Can you imagine?
I need Spider Squash to fight Spider Pig. I need that to happen. I need to watch that.
Be amazing.
And it could be refereed by Marvel
people. Only if the Marvel people can make it, because I would watch that. That CGI would be fantastic. I'm sorry.
I'm all about it. Like we might.
Oh my god, that'd be cool.
we might be onto something here.
But there's wild stuff out there. I mean, are they all Bigfoots or are they all stuff that's just big and hairy that's 6 foot, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 foot tall? And I'm not exaggerating on that 12 foot. People have reported 12-foot Sasquatches out in the woods. So, I mean,
that's a big old boy right there.
It's like 4, 5 foot chest or shoulders. It's a wild thought. I hope and dream. I'm aiming on getting gear. I want to be able to park the truck and hike. Luckily, I got a GPS on the way in the mail. I'm so excited for that because there's an area that Michael Freeman has kind of turned me on to that is only accessible by foot or by horse. And I'm allergic to horses, so it looks like I'm hiking. And I am so excited. So excited.
Yeah.
Because I don't know of anybody that's been in the area. So
make sure you get a GPS. I don't want a story that like you've all of a sudden wandered off into the woods and we've lost you because you got ate by you got used as a toothpick for a Sasquatch.
Yeah, and there's another story we can get into. But no, I got the Garmin 64 SX on the way, so like I'm super excited. Like the gear, I've been working my butt off this summer. There's an Ironman challenge for work, and there's a big bonus if you work and only miss 2 days between April and August, end of August. I've missed one day, and that's going to be this Saturday. And so there's my thermal monocular. Like, there's no way with these babies that I can save up for like a $2,000 monocular. So that's the way I'm going to get that. And so gears changing, the videos are going to be being pumped out. The stuff that I have planned is very, very exciting for me.
That's awesome. And Tate's over here telling you go
Yeah.
get you some FLIR. Tate, I used to work on the FLIR system on Marine Corps helicopters. FLIR is an amazing system, especially on helicopters.
Mhm.
It's a pretty amazing system. So how about any scheduled lives? Do you go live on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that where people can watch you?
No, that's more of a random thing. I want to, if I commit to something, I want to make sure that I can make it and do it. And that's my big issue is with the kids and work. It's hard, but I do stay frequent on Instagram. I post pictures. The kids I mean, King Kong, Sasquatch, all that theme stuff. I mean, bunch of Sasquatch stuff, pictures. Um, the Again, the YouTube page is kind of in the works. I have a bunch of stuff from the past, like other trips to Bluff Creek and stuff that I haven't put into a slideshow. Instagram, all that stuff is there. I found stick structures in Bluff Creek. One that blew my mind. All the rest could potentially be other things, um, but yeah, it's just yeah, I'm excited. It's a If I
I'm
don't
excited
find
for you.
Bigfoot, thank you. If I don't find Bigfoot, I had a great time camping. Like I don't have a
But I was
bad
going to say,
time. Yeah,
the,
it's
the worst of it
time
is
out
you
in the
got to
woods.
spend time out in the woods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
not a
so
bad deal at
again,
all.
touching back to the reason why I go alone. A lot of people. Sorry, I just noticed the fingernails. 3-year-old daughter. But I enjoy it so much more going alone, and I'm comfortable with my skills at the level to where I push myself. To where like right now I don't have the GPS, so I'm not leaving the truck very far. If I do go on a hike, I'm doing the wilderness navigation where I'm picking out the peaks and I'm looking at my route back. Like I'm
Cautious.
tweaking. I'm knowing I have the kids, I have the wife to come back to. I want to come back. I don't want to get lost. I don't want to do something stupid. The biggest thing I'm worried about out there are mountain lions and other people,
Yeah.
human beings. Yeah,
And the people are
but
probably worse than the mountain lions.
yeah, they're
So,
you don't know.
yeah, I'm with you. Well, look, everybody go out and go on to Twitter, go on to Instagram, go to Squatch, and that's Squatch Mike, Mike. Look up Squatch Mike. Make sure you give him a follow, share his videos, like his videos, looking for his stuff coming out. Also, appreciate everybody that popped on. Go check out the Bluff Creek Project podcast. Uh, Listening to Tate supplying the information here. Definitely has got some good stuff here. Mike, send me a
Thank you, Tate.
text after you go. Mike, after you go ask your wife what an areola is, shoot me a text. Shoot,
Oh,
post. Actually, if you really want to get popular, make sure you record that as a video. Like, hey, I just finished the Above the Bar podcast, and he said, hey, go ask you what an areola is. I just would like to see her reaction. And when you're like, oh shit, I forgot that's what that was, because I know you know it. It's just you're on the show right now, and this happens to me, happens to everyone. Like simple
oh.
things. Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Wow. See, no, that would have been a better video if I had
That would have been.
stopped the think tank going.
Oh God, that would have been better if you'd have just went, babe, so that I could
There's
have
that
watched her
light bulb.
reaction. Oh,
I'm
that's so
sorry I took
great.
that, but there's that light bulb. At least now,
Now
yeah.
you're, yeah, now you're,
3
now you're
kids is a
there.
lot. So
It is.
yeah,
That's why I said I know
my
you know what they are.
oldest is 3, my middle is 2, and the youngest is 7 months. So it's just like
Oh, I get it, man. Mine go from youngest at age 5 to oldest at age 29.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah. There's 8 of them.
Oh,
So
I'll stop my complaining at 3. I don't complain.
Yeah.
I love them. It's a lot.
They're fun.
Oh,
They're
I can't
fun.
imagine 8. Ooh.
So
My wife
don't
talks
log.
about 4, but
Yeah, you got to go for. You got to do it then. So don't log off after this.
Sorry.
I got to talk to you about one thing real quick.
Cool.
Again, thank everybody for watching this. If this is the first time you're
Thank
catching
you,
us,
guys.
please give us a follow on YouTube. Everybody was checking us out on YouTube. We need the follows. We need the likes. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Everything is the Above the Bar podcast. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Everything is the Above the Bar podcast. Please make sure you give us a follow. Yeah, you got it, Nate. I have been I am a busy man. There is no doubt about that. But one of the things we always do on every episode there, Mike, is the guest gets the last word. So what's the last word for us?
Get on out there. Get out. I mean, if you're not going to look for Bigfoot, just go enjoy outside. Go get out into the nature, out into the woods. If you're not in the woods, get out to the beach, desert. Just get outside.
Alrighty, be sure to push your stool in.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation, found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.